Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today on a Friday? Last week of February. Actually, next week is the last week, but the last Friday of February already. So, welcome to day 5 of our self care and journey to well being. I can't believe that we've made it. We've made it the whole week at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My name is Linda G. Robert. I am your Back in the Groove Again coach. And this week was all about self care. It was all about self care and self love. And I just published a book called Loving Me, a practical guide to loving you more. And you can find it on my website at divorcerecovery.ca. You can also find it on Amazon. So let me share my screen here. Let me share my screen, and that way we can review what we've done this week. So we spent the last few days exploring how to choose for ourselves. That was the first day, day 1. Then we went on to how to breathe through stress, how to purposefully, intentionally choose breathing before, an activity or an event that might be overwhelming for us. And then on day 3, it's all about how to create calm, how to bring in more calmness, how to include calming activities during our day. And of course, day 4, which was yesterday, how to move our bodies in ways that energize us. Now, today, we're going to wrap up this week by diving into something that brings all of these elements together: savoring. So now you can see the model, my self-care and well-being model, is now complete. Today, we're talking about savoring. And savoring is all about being present and fully enjoying the experience that you are involved in at the moment. It's about appreciating the small moments, the sights, the sounds, the tastes, the sensations that we often overlook. When we savor the present moment, we activate gratitude, and we activate joy, and we activate that self-love in the most profound way. So let's take a deep breath and dive right in. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here for a moment. So we're talking about savoring today. And I'm wondering if you tend to savor moments or tend to savor life in general. Some of us seem to do that naturally, but some of us need to be more deliberate about it. So savoring is the art of deliberately experiencing and enjoying the here and now. And it's about slowing down. It's about connecting. And it's about truly appreciating life as it unfolds rather than rushing through it. It's often easy to get caught up in the hustle of life, especially when we are working, when we have kids. But even when we retire, we can still get caught up in the hustle of life because some of us are busier retired than we were when we were working. Sometimes we get caught up with thinking about the past or planning for the future or stressing out about what's next, what's to come. But savoring allows us to fully engage with the present. It allows us to create a sense of peace, a sense of fulfillment, and a sense of joy. So how do we do this, right? How do we savor our experiences and our lives? So that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, savoring is powerful because it helps us to create moments of mindfulness and appreciation. I remember years ago, I was in Cuba. I remember laying on the beach, and I remember hearing the sounds of the ocean and feeling the warmth on my face. And why do I remember that so much? because I was using every sense that I had, the sights, what I could see around me, the sounds that I could feel, hear, and of course, the sensations that I could feel. I was savoring that moment. And this is going to sound funny, but when I go to the dentist and I have not necessarily cleaning, but some dental work done, I go back to that moment in Cuba where I'm laying on the beach, feeling the sun on my face, listening to the waves, because it immediately brings me a sense of peacefulness and calm. So by savoring that moment, I appreciate it. I appreciate that very moment. It brings me right in that present moment too. But it also is very helpful when we're going through challenging times. That's one of the ways we can create visualizations to help us relax and to help us um, manage our stress as we experience it. When we savor something, we allow ourselves to be fully present, which naturally brings more peace and happiness. And that's what I was doing on that day in Cuba. And of course, I've done it many other times after that. And I've noticed that when I savor, when I take advantage of using all my senses to capture that moment, that it's easier for me to remember them afterwards. Just like when I walked the Del Norte, uh, which was a couple of years ago now, and when I walked the Portuguese Way, the Central Route with my friend, I remember more. I remember a lot of more moments than some other holidays because I really took advantage of savoring, of being present, of paying attention to what was happening at the time. So I want you to think about a time when you really enjoyed something, whether it was a meal, a conversation, a walk in nature, or even a hug from a loved one. Think about a moment. And how did it feel to just soak in that moment? I bet you were using all of your senses, which is, I think that's why it makes it so intentional. We were probably noticing everyone that was at the table if it was, enjoying a meal. We were probably listening to everyone so attentively. And then, of course, when it came to the meal, we were probably using our eyes and our taste buds to savor everything that we were eating. So that whole experience is probably something that you remember even more so because you were right there in that very present moment. So I do want you to think of a time when you really enjoyed something. And think about what made it so enjoyable. Why was it that you actually enjoyed that moment and that you still remember that moment? Now, savoring is an intentional act. We have the ability to create more of these beautiful moments by choosing, oh, there's that word again, by choosing to notice and truly experience them. So, we're going to explore a few simple ways to savor life more fully. All right. One way is by slowing down and really tasting your food, noticing the textures, noticing the flavors and the smells. Taking smaller bites and chewing slower, giving yourself permission to enjoy every single bite. That's one way that you can savor life more. Now, whether it's a conversation with a friend or time with family, take a moment to really listen and be present. Not be preoccupied by what you think they're going to say or preoccupied about what's next for you, but truly listening, truly being present. Mindfulness really helps with that. I'll give you an example of something that happened a few years ago now. I was working at the French Community Service Center and I had a client that was with me. And he wanted to show me a project that he had worked on. Now, English wasn't his first language, and he was very proud of this project. So I remember him scrolling through his phone. And while he was doing that, my mind was telling me, oh my goodness gracious, will you hurry up already? Kind of thing. Until I noticed that my mind was saying that, until I actually became aware and was in the present moment. And then I tuned into him. I was present with him. And I remember that because I was very present with him while he was looking for that project. And he finally found it. And then, of course, he was very proud to show it to me. So being mindful, when we're not mindful, the opposite is mindlessness. When we're mindful, we're in the present moment and we're more apt to savor that moment as well. So when you're talking with your friends, whether it's a conversation with a friend or a family member, take time to really listen, to really appreciate the connection, to really appreciate the laughter or the sadness or the joy that comes with that conversation. Okay, here's another example. You might want to take a moment to pause and enjoy the natural world around you. Feel the warmth of the sun when you go outside, or maybe when you're on your patio, or maybe you're looking through the window and you can feel the sun, or you might feel the cool air in some cases too. You might listen to the snow, the sounds of the snow when you're walking outside, the crunch, crunch, crunch. I remember that. I went to Iqaluit a few years ago to deliver a workshop, and I specifically noticed the sounds of the snow when I was walking on it. And I remember that because I was in the very present moment and savoring everything around me. I just remember seeing white, a lot of white around me, and also some very beautiful yellow and different colored buildings. But it was the sound of the snow that I really remember a lot. Crunch, crunch, crunch. You might want to pay attention to the birds that are chirping, or simply enjoy the beauty of a tree. It sounds really simple, but when you're out in nature, you can actually savor what's around you. The other day, I went snowshoeing, and I did take a moment to just look around. I just looked around and I looked at the forest full of trees, of course, full of trees and full of snow, and I was amazed how beautiful it actually is. It really is beautiful here in the wintertime. And this allows you to be very present and to ground yourself as well in nature and to feel gratitude as well. Now, as we talked about yesterday, movement can also be very powerful. Savor the feeling of your body moving, whether it's when you're walking, a stretch, or dancing. And notice the joy and the energy that comes with that moment as well. When I'm dancing, I shared that yesterday. I love dancing. When I'm dancing, I am right in that moment, and I get so energized from that. I get so energized from that, and I am in that moment, and I'm savoring every single inch of it. Now, you may also want to take a moment to appreciate the small everyday moments as well, like a cup of tea in the morning, or maybe a warm shower, the feeling of your bed at night, when your head finally hits the pillow, and savoring that, and thanking, if you believe in a God of some sort, thanking God or thanking a higher source or whatever it is for the beautiful day that it provided you and the beautiful moment that it's allowing you to have. So all these little moments can bring a sense of calm and, of course, a sense of contentment when we choose to savor them. You may also want to spend time with yourself and savor your own presence. Practice self-compassion by enjoying your own thoughts, creativity, and your own energy. And of course, this is an important step when it comes to self-love and honoring your journey. Now, savoring is an act of self-love as well, in my opinion, when we slow down and when we truly appreciate and experience life. We're giving ourselves the gift of presence, of peace, of gratitude as well. We're saying, I'm so worthy of this. I'm so worthy of joy. I deserve the beautiful moments in my life. And when you start doing that, you will experience more beautiful moments in your life. Even if they're not gigantic moments, even if they're not trips, you'll enjoy the small moments and the company that you keep. By practicing savoring, we nurture our relationships with ourselves. And we might even nurture our relationships with other people as well. We make space for gratitude and we allow ourselves to feel fully alive in every moment. So now we're going to do a quick savoring exercise together. I want you to find something small. Now, if you're watching the replay, you can pause the replay and of course get something small that's in your space. It could be a piece of fruit. I have some blueberries here that I'm going to be looking at in just 1 second. It could be a cup of tea. It could be a glass of water. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. So here's how we're going to do it. You're going to hold your item. So I'm going to take a couple of blueberries here. And I'm going to take a nice deep breath. And I'm going to look at my blueberries very carefully. So you look at your item very carefully. And notice the texture. Notice the shape. These are kind of flat. They're not overly round. But just noticing the object that you have in front of you. And I could be doing the same thing with this object if I wanted to. But I'm choosing to do it with my blueberries here. Now, you may, if it's an object that you can drink or if it's an object that you can eat, slowly, very, very slowly, take a small taste of it. So I am not going to eat everything right now. I'm just going to take a very small bite of this. And I'm noticing as I'm putting it in my mouth how it feels. So pay attention to how it feels in your mouth. If it's something that you're eating, how it feels in your mouth if it's something that you're drinking. Now I'm going to put the rest in my mouth, put the rest in here. So now we're going to close our eyes. I'm speaking with something in my mouth. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to savor the moment. So close your eyes. Slowly. Slowly. It went down my throat very, very slowly. You want to feel the sensation of this fruit or of that water or whatever it is that you savored. Feel the sensation of it and appreciate it fully. And as you do this, notice how you feel. You feel more present. I definitely tasted that blueberry a lot more than normal. And I did develop a sense of gratitude towards it because I use these fruits for many different purposes. I actually baked with them last night. I put them in my cereal. So the fact that they're small like that and they bring me that much joy brings me a lot of gratitude. Makes me feel really, really good. That's the power of savoring. So looking at it, right? Smelling, tasting. There's no sounds, of course, but there is a sound when you're chewing it a little bit. So being in that very present moment, using your senses, that's the power of savoring. All right, now it's time to take your pen and your journal out because we're going to do a little bit of journaling. All right. When you chose to savor, whether it was the water or a fruit, what was that experience like for you? Describe in your journal what that was like for you to experience that fruit or that glass of water. What was it like? That's one question. Here's another question. What small moment can you savor today? Maybe you have something coming up. Maybe you're planning on meeting your friends at Tim Hortons, for example. Is that a moment that you could savor? Being very present with your friends, paying attention to what they're saying instead of thinking what you're going to be saying next, for example. Maybe it's savoring your cup of coffee at the Tim's if you decide to go there. Maybe it's a soup that you want to savor. So what small moment can you savor today? And I do also invite you to write one thing that you are going to savor today and that you're truly going to take in that experience. Last question. How can you incorporate more savoring in your life? How can you do more of this living in the present moment and appreciating the moment and really soaking it all in? I almost call it like taking a snapshot of that moment. You take a snapshot of that moment with your mind, of course. That's what I did when I went to Cuba that many years ago now. I took a snapshot, click, click. I remembered how it felt on my face, and I remembered the sounds of the waves, and I remember feeling a bit of fresh air too. So almost like I took a snapshot photo of that moment. So how can you incorporate more savoring in your life? So we're at the end of our last day. I want to thank you so much for being part of this incredible 5-day journey with me. I hope that you feel empowered to continue practicing self-care and well-being in your life. Remember, choosing to love yourself every day is part of that self-love and self-care model. Remember to breathe through your challenges. Remember to create calm in your day. Remember to move with purpose, and remember to savor every beautiful moment that life has to offer you. Now, if you're ready to take this journey even further, I'd love to work with you. I am here to help you take the next steps towards becoming the confident, inspired, and limitless person that you're meant to be. So reach out, and we can make February and March and April your best months yet. Of course, for a copy of my book, Loving Me, A Practical Guide to Loving You More, go to Amazon, or you can go to my website at divorcerecovery.ca. Thank you again for joining me. Oh, hello. I'm just reading a message here. You helped me when I was in big trouble. Now I'm happy about it. Thank you very much. I am very well. Thank you. How are you doing now? How are you doing now? It's very good to see you. I'm glad you're able to join me. That was a while ago, I think it was. A very long time ago. How are you doing now? You could write it in the comments section. Oh, maybe you're not here anymore. All right, I do see there's one person here. I want to thank you. And where are you from? I know I have a viewer here watching me. Where are you from? Can you write down where you're from? It's always nice to connect with people that are watching live. All right. Well, we'll stop there. Thank you again for watching me. I appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching the replay as well, please write down how you are savoring things today, how you've what you've chosen to do, how you're using breathing, um, at the most at the appropriate times, and when you want to bring in a little bit more calmness in your life, and how you're adding more calming activities in your life and movement as well. Please feel free to add it in the comments section, and I will respond to your messages. Have a great rest of your Friday. For us, it's 12:25 here, Eastern Standard Time. And for others, it might be midnight, might be really late. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Oh, great. I'm glad that you're doing well. Thank you. Thank you for adding it. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're doing well. See, I can add that comment section here. Very good. All right, everyone. You're welcome. All right. See you. I don't know when I'll do my next lives. Probably in March sometime, but I haven't decided just yet. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, you're from India. Thank you. Great. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you again. Thanks. Bye now.